You know, it's nice to see a former franchise that people once thought forgotten get back to life. I've been seeing it a lot with the Metroid franchise, with the recent Metroid Prime Remaster, and you could go as far as to say Advance Wars as well. But sadly enough, some things get forgotten, and in this video, I'm going to go over Nintendo's forgotten IPs. Now, when I say forgotten, I don't mean dead. Nintendo can revive them whenever they want, but as far as I could tell, there's no news or rumors or anything regarding these games, so I'm going to shine a light on them so they could get some much needed attention. So welcome and welcome back to my channel. Let's get on to the list. Number 1 is StarFox. The amount of people who want a StarFox game is very high. People ask me this all the time when I'm streaming or in a video that they miss StarFox and they want a new one. Now, I personally have never played a StarFox game. I've seen it, but I've never really played one, and I would love to experience the franchise for myself and see what it has to offer. But I do know the famous memes around these games, like Peppy appearing and saying do a barrel roll. I've seen that a bunch of times. When it was released, StarFox was really unique at its time. It is a on-rails space shoot 'em up game, and it captured a lot of people's hearts with it. It was unique, it was sci-fi, and it had memorable characters: Fox, Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. So there was a lot of love for the franchise from the fans, from Nintendo, from everybody. They even had a streak going by appearing on every Nintendo console since the SNES, but that streak has been broken with the Nintendo Wii. The last major game in the series, Star Fox Zero, was released in 2016 for the Wii U, and we all know what happens to games on the Wii U. It came out with meh reviews, citing control problems as a huge learning curve, so the potential of a StarFox game got even slimmer because of the port and how people received it, which it was reviewed fairly because of the controls, but a lot of StarFox fans were like, yeah, the controls are bad, but it's a StarFox game and we want a StarFox game, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Not that I blame them. I'm like that with a couple of franchises, but it's like they couldn't get a win. Especially on the Wii U, that was like a double kill right there. And ever since then, StarFox has been forgotten, not by its fans, but the general public. And even though it was a heavy hitter in Nintendo's early history, it sadly did not achieve the level of recognition like Zelda or Mario. This lack in popularity might be a reason why this series is overlooked and forgotten. Another reason why I think StarFox doesn't really have a chance is the lack of innovation in the recent installments. Most of them are just basically StarFox 64 copy and pasted to the console, which is great. Everyone loves StarFox 64, but new people or even the fans need something fresh to keep them interested. Take Zelda as an example. It always changes up the gameplay, style, dungeons for many of its games, because even though it's Zelda and it demands respect, it still needs to keep up and keep people interested and fresh. So StarFox hasn't seen that kind of treatment. That could be because Nintendo forgot it, or not a lot of people know what to do with it. But I will say they did try something new with Star Fox Adventures, making it a more space action RPG adventure, but a lot of people didn't like it, and this is like the whole vicious cycle. If you want to try something new, you're gonna have to go through the hurdles of the fans saying, I want the old one back, but then once they get it, they're like, oh, okay, this is cool, but they have to keep going at it. They can't just stop at one innovation and not do anything with it. I know a lot of people who think Star Fox Adventures is a hidden gem, that it deserves more praise, and it does. It looks like a really cool game, and I wish I had it on the Switch. And nowadays, games like that do very well. Back then, probably not, but now they do. So if Nintendo gives it a chance, gives it a nice clean to it, and puts it on the Switch, I think it will sell like hotcakes. And the last reason why I think it's mostly forgotten is the developer carousel. You know that thing where every developer makes it, but it's hard because you have to get all their permission to port it to a thing. You know, business legal jargon. There's a bunch of different developers that have a hand in playing these games, so it makes it hard to port. Now, I'm not a business expert, but that seems like a lot of work. But knowing Nintendo and the powerhouse that they are now, they could very well make an agreement. I mean, they waste their time going after mods and all that junk. They have time to do that. But despite all the challenges, the StarFox franchise still has a very dedicated fan base that continues to grow and support the series, which is very nice to see. They even have a fan animation called, actually I shouldn't say that because Nintendo might just go and take it down, so I'm not saying anything. With all that in mind, there is still great potential for the series to come back. Now we can just hope that Nintendo listens to their fans and revives this long-awaited franchise. And the next one on this list is Chibi Robo. He is adorable. Ever wonder what it feels like to have a tiny robot doing errands for you? And no, I'm not talking about a Roomba. I'm talking about Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo was a franchise developed by Skip. The series features a small robot named Chibi Robo who is tasked with helping his human family with various chores and tasks. Now you might be wondering, that sounds boring. But it's not boring. In the first game, the story begins with the Sanderson family, who are going through some difficult times. The parents are constantly arguing, the daughter is withdrawn. Damn, that sounds like my family, honestly. Anyways, to help the family, the father purchased a small robot named Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo's job is to help with the family's cleaning and to collect happy points by completing tasks and interacting with the family members. So it's a very wholesome story. It's kind of like Toy Story in a way, where you have an inanimate object just becomes life and keeps you company. Though, as the years have gone by, the series has had inconsistent release schedules with long gaps between games. The original game, Chibi Robo Plug into Adventure, was released in 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube. However, subsequent games were released for handheld consoles, such as Chibi Robo Park Patrol for Nintendo DS and Chibi Robo Photo Finder for the 3DS, and Chibi Robo Ziplash for the 3DS as well. Couple that with the lack of marketing, Chibi Robo games were difficult to gain a wider audience. Another reason why I think that Chibi Robo didn't really stand a chance back then is because of its unique gameplay. Because like the story, you're helping the family by doing chores and odds and ends around the house. I can see why back then that might not have been like fun or exciting. But with the rise of cozy and chill games, I think Chibi Robo would do really well. He's cute, he's lovable, you do chores and tasks. What does that remind me of? Oh yeah, Animal Crossing. So having a Chibi Robo in a modern game for the Switch is a really good idea. Now, Chibi Robo still has a dedicated fan base, not as big as StarFox, but there's still a lot of people that remember and love to play the original ones on the GameCube and experience Chibi Robo and still keep him alive in some way. Nintendo fanboys like to blame the consumer for not buying the game, when in reality it was the company's fault for not marketing it well. Let me know in the comments down below, do you think that it's a company's fault if a game does bad, or the lack of interest the consumer has? Now, my final theory on why Chibi Robo is not on the Switch, because they released the controversial Chibi Robo Ziplash. Now, this is a grand departure from its roots, and a lot of fans didn't appreciate that because they wanted a Chibi Robo game so bad, but then they got this and they were like, what? So I can see why a lot of fans got mad. And I hope that Nintendo didn't see that and say, you know what? We're gonna get done with Chibi Robo. No, they just have to go back to their roots, in my opinion, and see why a lot of people loved it in the past and why a lot of people will love it right now. Like I said, it would sell like hotcakes on the Switch. And look how cute he is! Free him! He was part of that meme where he was like on fire. Yeah, remember that meme? Yeah, that was Chibi Robo. Hopefully we see the robot again in all its glory with the original gameplay from the GameCube, all cleaned up and nice on the Switch. I would love to see that. Every year, thousands of Nintendogs get left and forgotten. They wait day after day for someone to take care of them. Some are left alone for hours on end. Others are neglected. They're virtual, furry, matted, and dirty. But it doesn't have to be this way. You, yes you, can make a difference to a Nintendog today. With just a few minutes of your time, you can give a Nintendog the love and attention it deserves. Don't let these virtual pups suffer in silence. Adopt a Nintendog today. They'll love you virtually forever. Now, if you guys don't know, Nintendogs is a game. It's a virtual pet simulator developed by Nintendo. Hence the name Nintendogs, or Nintencats, or Nintenbirds. I don't know how many there are. The series was initially popular and successful, but it has since faded into the public eye. The franchise was mainly popular during the early days of the Nintendo DS, when it was released in 2005. I think they wanted to go with a Tamagotchi feel where you could take your pet anywhere you go, so that's why they put it on handheld opposed to home console. And as the popularity continued, there's different variations of the games like Lavatory Retrievers, Dutch Hounds, Chihuahuas, and a special Dalmatian edition. And eventually it got so big that the game sold 24 million copies worldwide, making it the second best-selling Nintendo DS game of all time behind New Super Mario Bros. And in front of Mario Kart DS. That is successful. While the other games on this list did not even touch Zelda and Mario acclaim, Nintendogs did. Also, when the 3DS released, they took advantage of all the hype and released Nintendogs Plus Cats as a launch game. Nintendog utilized the Nintendo DS with all its functions to make the games more interactive, like the use of the touchscreen and the built-in microphone when you want to call your puppy and play with them. And the touchscreen allows the player to pet the dog, give him baths and walks and things of that nature. And since the DS was portable, it was easy to take around. And it was a nice stand-in for kids who wanted a dog but couldn't get a dog for various reasons. So having a virtual dog was really great at that time. So why is this big popular puppy game in the forgotten list? Well, recently Nintendo hasn't done anything with Nintendogs. Though there have been rumors of a mobile Nintendogs, which if I could see a comeback for Nintendogs on mobile, that would still be sad for me. And that's why I put it on my forgotten, because even though it sold well and it was up there with the Marios and the Zeldas, it still came off of Nintendo's radar. I don't know. That goes to show that sales isn't everything. Just because something sells good doesn't guarantee that it's going to be a successful franchise or whatnot. There's more factors and variables into why a game does well as a franchise and why games don't do well as a franchise. So Nintendo, free our puppies! Though in the meantime, I am perfectly happy and content playing with my real dog Nico. So number 4 on the list is not a forgotten IP, but a more forgotten game in an IP, and that is Super Princess Peach. One of my favorite games on the Nintendo DS, and I love it so much. So be honest with me, how many of you guys knew that this game existed? A game where Princess Peach is the protagonist and she has to save Mario. It was a really radical idea in its time. But other than playing as Princess Peach herself, what makes this game different from other 2D platformers? Well, it's a feature that's pretty controversial, but let me explain. Peach has access to 4 powers tied to her emotions called vibes. These 4 vibes are joy, gloom, rage, and calm. Joy will produce a cyclone around Peach, will help her float in the air. Gloom will let Peach bawl her eyes out with a bunch of water to help water plants and put out fires. Clicking on rage will surround Peach in flames, burning down anything that comes along her way. Finally, calm will get Peach happy and help refill HP in the process. So this is where the controversy comes in. Because of her emotions. A lot of people think that the emotions ties into female emotions and how we run high on emotion. Now, I necessarily don't have a problem with it or how it was portrayed. I first played it as a kid, I thought it was cool, but I can see why it's kind of sus, especially when you're going through that time of the month. I can see why people have a problem with it, though I never did. To me, it was more like they needed gameplay for Peach and they didn't know what powers to give her, and they thought, okay, let's give her some emotion. Yeah, it could be taken the wrong way, especially when you give the female lead a plethora of emotions to just change on the fly, but you know, what else were they gonna do? So putting that aside, Super Princess Peach was one of my favorite games on the DS because it's really fun, but not gonna lie, I've been wanting a game that has Princess Peach as the main protagonist for a long time. And I'm not just saying this because, you know, I'm woke or anything. It's because I love Princess Peach. She's one of my favorite princesses and characters in the Nintendo universe. And with the Mario movie out, and we got those Yes Queen vibes with Princess Peach, I am hoping that they capitalize on that and they make a remake or a new one of Super Princess Peach. Luigi has his own story, Mario has plenty of stories. Yoshi even has stories, so I want more Princess Peach. So I'm really hoping that even though this game had controversy around it, that Nintendo will give it another shot. Also, I couldn't go over all the IPs that Nintendo hasn't touched in a while, so let me know your favorites in the comments down below, why you think it's forgotten, or let me know what games on my list that you like, that you would love to see brought back to the Switch. And if you like this video, please, please, please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. It does help, and I'm trying to grow the channel. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. You can find me on my socials in the description down below. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day. And as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.